This is Truckee B47 from the Ranger Command Power Hour, and you are listening to the Four-Eyed Radio Network. Ranger Command is now on Patreon. Become a patron by pledging as much or as little as you like every month and receive cool perks. By pledging, you are helping us make our show even better. Go to patreon.com/rangercommandph to learn more. Thanks.
Hey there, Eric here from Socially Awkward Studios, and this Four-Eyed Radio presentation is being proudly brought to you by Raven Designs, illustration and design that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, visit ravencruise.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Appropriately Inappropriate, episode 85. I'm Kevin Elliott, one of your hosts. You can follow me on Twitter at @IamKevinElliott. My co-host sitting across from me is in the building today. She goes by the name of Nancy Garrigus. And where can people follow you?
On Instagram at @ngarrigus.
Very good.
Wait, and I'm up to 110 followers.
All right, you got a few more.
I did.
Good job.
From the show.
Good job from never posting. That's good.
And I post 7 pictures now.
All right, she's up to 7 and 110 people. All right, keep posting. You'll get that thing to like 1,000.
For every 10 posts, I get 1,000 followers.
So, well, no, that's not true at all.
Well, I'm going to make it true.
Mathematically, that's highly incorrect.
I'm going to make it correct.
Because if you think about it, 110 divided by 7.
Hey, give me wings, I'll fly. I'm going to make it correct.
All right, Red Bull. So, you guys, show that I want to promote coming up again, April 2nd. Me, Johnny LaQuasto, and Grant Cotter at Stand Up Scottsdale. Tickets are $12. Go to standupscottsdale.com to buy tickets or call 480-882-0730 to make a reservation. Again, that's Thursday. Showtime, I think, is 7:30. And it's $12. And it's going to be worth it because we are literally pulling no stops. I don't know what that means, but we're going to tell funny jokes. Nance, nobody can see you performing anywhere?
No.
Okay, not yet?
Not yet.
I tried to get you today.
No, I saw that, and I was so busy, I haven't even had a chance to read it. What is it?
It's just a show for people to, you go for like your first time.
For the storytelling?
No,
okay.
You just do like a 5-minute set.
I would love to do storytelling.
What story would you tell?
My story about how I decided I was going to be a gardener. I was going to garden, grow my own food, that story. I'll tell it to you sometime.
What? You can tell it on the podcast.
I'll tell it when we're done with this.
Why wouldn't you tell it on the show for everyone to hear?
All right. Well, if anybody wants to hear, I'll tell them.
Well, first, let's bring in Ryan.
Yeah.
So our guest this week is Ryan Lawson.
It's not about me.
Hilarious comedian Ryan Lawson is in the building today for our episode this week. I'm so happy you're here. You got like one of the best laughs ever, and hopefully everybody gets to hear it a lot. Which means we got to be funny. Now we're on point. I don't know. So Ryan, blast away. Promote everything where people can find you, see you, the whole nine.
I'm on Facebook, but I'm super private because I have a corporate job. So don't look me up on there, I guess. All right. Twitter, I have the shittiest Twitter handle in the world. It's at RKLOLSON, RK Lawson.
I like it.
Yeah, that's not the worst.
It's so shitty that quick digression already, but so my last name's Lawson, and I have this thing where I have a play on my last name, which is Lawson.
Yeah.
Like my license plate is even Lawson, LAWLSON. And so I really wanted the Twitter handle at Lawson and just be like, oh, I'm starting to brand myself.
Yeah.
But it was already taken, and I tweeted at the person with the handle. I was like, it was some 20-something-year-old chick in Florida, and I was like, hey, can I have it? And she's like, no. And I'm like, but look, I need this.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll let you know. And I was like, I hope you die. And
This could have been the start of a beautiful relationship. She could be the love of your life, and she's holding on to that Twitter handle.
But she came off pretty bitchy, so I don't think we're meant for each other.
What if she's like, well, you see, I have this joke where I do with my last name, where it's Lawson, but I call myself Lawson.
I told her that.
Oh, my God, me too.
You need to start
Oh, you're
texting
saying
each
if
other,
she told me that,
pictures.
too, yeah.
Maybe, text her a pic.
Yeah.
And she'll, soften her heart.
Maybe. I don't know. She probably did die by now. I don't
Whatever, man. At Kevin Elliott is a dickhead. Guy won't give me his Twitter handle. So I have to do I am Kevin Elliott like I'm a narcissist. I am.
But at least, with that, though, at least people, when they hear it, they go, oh, I am Kevin Elliott, and they can find it. For me, it's like, oh yeah, R.K. Lawson, but it's not L-A-W-L, it's L-O-L, and then... And
Well,
I'm like,
where else can we find you? Where else shouldn't we find you?
Instagram at R.K. Lawson with an L-O-L, not an L-A-W-L, same shitty...
That's
And,
cool though. LOL. Do your comic,
That's
make
what I
people
thought.
laugh.
I
That's
thought
great.
that was kind of good, actually.
Yeah, but it's got like 2 initials leading instead of... So it's
What's
kinda
the K?
confusing. Keith is my middle name.
Oh, not
So-
Kevin. That's too bad.
Yeah, I know. It is
You're really a disappointment.
All right. Any shows coming up?
If this was last week, I'd be like, yeah, I have shows all weekend. But now I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything until Copper Blues on Tuesday. I'm on the book show there.
Okay. We've talked
This
about
comes
Copper
out
Blues.
Sunday, so
And
that's
this,
good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this will be, Tuesday the whatevereth.
I hate it too.
Yeah, I don't know what the date
I
is
think
either.
It's the
It's
I don't care.
20-something.
24th?
Hold on, I'm looking on my calendar.
Look at us.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Just foolish.
It's 8.
This is horrible radio.
Tuesday is the 24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Copper Blues, yeah, down by the Tempe Improv. Everybody come out there. It's a fun show. Spring break starts next week for my son.
Oh, I just finished spring break. What are you going to do with the little guy?
I don't know.
You have him?
Yeah?
You should pay your wife to take him. Your
Ex-wife?
ex-wife. Yep.
No.
Just do it.
No, I mean, we split. She's got him half the week. I don't have him the whole time. But, I mean, yeah, it's like a lot of hours together. And he's so high energy, dude. It's incredible. He doesn't stop moving, talking, punching, pulling,
He punches you a lot.
pinching,
He punches you all the
climbing,
time.
dude.
I'd punch him back. But I had my kids for one day home from spring break, and I couldn't take it. Like, we went out of town. I got
Yeah.
to keep them busy. I couldn't take it. They're 2 years apart. They fight constantly.
Yeah. Well, and Kevin, we were talking sort of last night about your son, how he like if you take him to a game or something, he's like, all right, let's leave. And like
Yeah.
you can't just get him like, hey, let's
just
enjoy
the
a
age.
basketball game.
Dude, it's mad frustrating, yo.
He enjoys the idea of it, but they're
He does.
just too
That's
little
it.
at that age.
That is it. He loves the idea. And then when we get there and sit down, he's like, okay, I've seen this now. Let's go. I'm like, we have to show up right when the game starts. And then I have to pray that he's interested enough to
Right.
make it for the next 2 hours at
Well,
least.
have you guys
At
gone
least.
to any spring training games?
Not yet. We'll go.
People seem to like to do
Yeah,
that.
but it's
I
getting
hate
kind of hot. We'll probably go Monday and or Tuesday. But I don't know. I mean, he just likes anything sports. So it's like, cool, let's go bowling. All right?
Yeah.
Let's go miniature golfing. Let's go real golfing. Like, he just wants to play.
Does he
That's
like
cool.
the driving range yet?
Yeah.
Okay, I just started.
He likes playing. He doesn't like going driving. He'll play 18
Oh,
holes.
okay.
Holy
I started doing
It's good,
that.
dude.
And
it's
he's
weird.
6?
Yeah, he's really good at golf.
You guys should teach me how to play. I really want to learn how to play golf.
Okay,
I suck.
come with
So
me
do
every
I.
Friday. I
He's
go to
better.
Cracker Jacks. I go to the driving range every Friday. And I've been going. And the guy who runs like the little pro shop there, he's like Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball. He's like old.
Yeah.
And he knows everything. And so he comes
Just
over to
throw
me.
a wrench at you every
Yeah,
time.
he's like, if you can
Shank
dodge
one.
traffic, you can dodge a ball. He comes up to me, he's like, I just want to tell you, I've been watching you for the last couple of weeks. He says, your swing, it's painful. It hurts me to watch. I'm just going to give you some tips for free. And it helps.
Just so I
Like,
don't have to watch this
yeah,
shit
that's
anymore.
What he says. He's like, it hurts me to even watch you. I'm like, oh, okay. So with that being said, like, what do you recommend? So, he gets behind me.
Yeah.
Creepy,
See,
but helpful. So he
Yeah.
fixed my swing in like 5 minutes.
I do that like when kids are taking the SATs. I'm like, it's really painful watching you hold that pencil. Let me get behind you and show you how it's done.
God.
So everybody won that day. My swing got better. He got behind me. Like, it was a good day.
See, I can't golf like I can't hit a fucking golf. I'm a baseball player, so like I can throw a golf ball up in the air fungo style and hit it on the end of the
It's a running
driver
start.
midair. But if it's stationary on the ground, I can't fucking hit it. I don't know. I don't understand.
Golf
it.
is so hard. And I thought the same thing because I played baseball too growing up. So when I went to golf, I'm like, dude, I'll just knock the shit out of the ball.
Like it's like tee. It's just set up right there.
Yeah. And no, dude, it's like the hardest game to play. How long did you play baseball for? Did you grow up the whole 9?
Oh
playing
yeah,
it?
I grew up. I was a baseball player right out of the gate. I mean, I started when I was like 4, and then played all the way until until college, and then I wasn't really like D1 material, but I played for a little bit as a freshman. There was like a baseball club that started, and like I was one of like the first few guys on that, and then like the founder of the club, he decided like, all right, well we're gonna hire like a varsity high school coach to be our coach and stuff, and he held a tryout, and I sucked ass in the tryout and got fucking cut. And I was like, my life is over. I have nothing going for me. It was the worst first semester of college, man.
No way.
And that same semester, I was like, well, since I got cut from this team, I'll try out for the comedy troupe. Didn't fucking make it my first. I was like, oh, God.
Oh, dude, that happened to me in 7th grade, man. I was so good at sports. And then 7th grade, you try out for the school team, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of just everyone's on a team, you have to try out for the school team. So I tried out for basketball was first, and I got cut. And that was my sport.
Yeah, dude, isn't that hurt?
Yeah, I was like, dude, you're a moron to the coach. And I laughed my ass off.
To cut kids in the 7th grade?
Yeah.
Isn't that like bullying?
No.
No, okay, that's something else.
It happens.
Not anymore.
But I loved, a few of my friends made the team, and I loved, they only won 1 game the whole year.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's right, dude, because if I was on the team, we would have won 2 games.
Where was your position?
I'm a point guard.
Okay.
So then baseball was next. And I'm much better at baseball. I just liked basketball more.
Yeah.
So I chose to play that. And for baseball, I'm like, dude, I'm a lock.
Yeah.
Because I'm dope at baseball. I played center field and first base. And I was fast and like whatever. So I tried out. I get cut. And I'm like, all right, dude, I suck at sports. Like, what is my life turning to? This is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
7th grade was
Never
bad.
played baseball again after that.
Okay,
I gave up baseball.
What sport stuck in 7th grade? Basketball.
Yeah, after that I made the team.
It was
for
their
basketball.
problem, not yours.
Well, it's funny you mention it because the same exact thing happened to me in 7th grade. So 6th grade is where I broke out in baseball. I in Little League, I led the league and I hit like 591, and we went fucking like 23-0 in the season, and I was like, yeah. And then I was like, all right, this coming up year, I'll be eligible to get on the middle school team. Didn't fucking make the tryout, and I was like, really, dude? Like, I just led the fucking league in hitting on the best team.
What position did you play?
I played second base, shortstop. I really liked the middle infield a lot.
Yeah, that's what I want my son to play. But he is like, he wants to play catcher so bad. Just because you wear the gear and he's like, you look like a robot.
Dude, my little brother's a boss baseball player, though. He's a catcher and a pitcher, and he's phenomenal.
Both? Damn.
Yeah, he's great.
How old is he?
He's turning 16 in May.
How old are you?
Turning 26 next month.
Okay. That's old. You're older than him by a lot.
Yeah. So.
Do you ever talk to him?
Yeah. They live in Vegas. He's crushing it in baseball in Vegas right now. So, hopefully he'll get a sweet signing bonus in a few years and
go live with him.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be your manager, bro.
There you go.
Where are you from?
I'm from Lake Havasu City.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Like born there? And
I was
lived there?
born in Havasu.
That's where the London Bridge is.
Yeah.
A lot of
Actual
people
London
get.
Bridge.
I mean, they conceive in Havasu.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Didn't know they stayed for 9 months. to
No,
have you,
typically
too.
don't. They typically don't. Yeah.
What's that like, dude?
Well, it was kind of sucky. I mean, it's cool, like going back, but growing up there, it was like, there's not a lot to do. It's a small town. It's like,
Isn't it like the hottest city in Arizona?
yeah, it's one of them. It's like between
Bullhead City.
Bullhead probably average a little hotter. But yeah, it's there. And people, whenever I tell people that, like, yeah, I'm from a place that's hotter than Phoenix, and like, but it has a lake. I'm like, fuck you, the lake is not my backyard.
Right.
Like, I'm not, you have to drive to it.
Yeah.
And it's also a cesspool.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say,
So-
Arizona
It's not a good
lakes
lake.
aren't exactly the
fucking
same
disgusting.
as Michigan lakes. It's
Right.
disgusting.
Mosquito breeding ground.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible.
We had so many times growing up where it was like, all right, sorry, the beach is closed. There's poop in the water. So don't go to the beach.
Darn it.
Dude, you have no idea how many hotel pools I've done that to.
But at least like hotel pools, like there's a chlorine, there's like a cleaning system.
Yeah.
At the lake, it's like, oh, we don't see the poop now, so
Yeah.
it's safe. But it's not.
It's
just because you don't see
definitely
it
not.
doesn't mean it's safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, God.
Poop all up in
gross.
there. You wouldn't even know.
Dude, that's disgusting.
Gross.
So there's not a lot of stuff to do there, dude. You get in like mischief trouble?
No, dude, I was such a fucking good kid. I was such a prude, man.
Really?
Like,
Good.
yeah, like
And from a small town, that's great.
yeah, and it was like, I don't know, when I was a kid, I mean, the worst thing I did was like break a window in the backyard by playing baseball. And then my fucking stepdad was like, good job. And like, he was just like, yeah, you're playing baseball. Like, that's cool. But yeah, like we had like a little aquatic center. We had like a little tiny, like, it's got a wave pool and a water slide. Just one of those. Other than that, it was like ride your razor scooters around town, and there was nothing to do. There's like, fucking this little shithole called the Spot. It's like the most diet Peter Piper pizza you could. Just this tiny. It's got like a skee ball and then like a couple other machines.
One skee ball, one basketball.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Damn it.
Nothing there.
Were there kids like, so how long were you there for? Till you graduated high school?
Yeah, when I graduated,
wow.
yeah. My whole entire life I lived there.
Did you have, since you were like the good kid, did you have kids like that you grew up with that were really bad?
There were, I mean, yeah, there were definitely bad kids. Like, I remember, I think it was in high school, this one kid, oh God, he was such a piece of shit. But he got like karma'd so hard. Like, he was, like a bunch of them were driving around in a truck. So we must have been, like 16 or 17. And they were like smashing mailboxes, like with
So
baseball
legal,
bat.
dude.
And like driving around, just
gotta go
hanging out the
easy cheese
window,
inside.
like
Not a federal offense.
And
Just
like-
vandalism.
But yeah, this one guy, like, he like go around smashing mailboxes and like fucking just hit the mailbox with his arm while they're driving by it and like fucked up his arm and everything.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Dude, his
He was
arm
like
should have flown off.
Like a
Yeah, it
pitcher
was
for a high school
mangled.
baseball team.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, like he wasn't a sports guy or anything.
No, they
but-
never are. We had horrible kids that we grew up
Terrible.
with. It wasn't, elementary school, everybody was cool, whatever, fine. When you got to middle school, that's when you morph like 4 elementary schools
Right.
together.
Yeah, exactly.
And the very first day, like I had a friend named Brandon that I was elementary school with, right?
yeah.
And he was just our group of friends. And so the very first day, we're on the playground before school starts, just kind of doing whatever. Like, hey, we're in middle school. Should we go on the playground? Should we not? I don't know if we're
Yeah.
too old. And the kid Brandon did something. And I go, dude, Brandon's a fag. All right? I'm not homophobic.
Great insult
right?
though for a middle schooler. Like
Yeah.
that was the grade A.
Right.
We were allowed to talk
So-
like that back then,
Yeah.
too.
So as I said that, these 2 kids that I didn't know were walking right by. And they stopped dead in their tracks. And they're like, what the fuck did you say? And I was like, what? And they're like, what'd you say? I was like, did you just call me a fag? I was like, what? I called this guy a fag. And he was like, man, fuck you. And he starts like literally talking shit as an adult would. That's how bad he was.
Yeah.
His name was Brandon. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? He was
I
like
sure
the meanest
do.
person in the world.
Terrifying.
Okay. And so I squealed and cried. And I was like, no, him. I was talking about it because I'm such a pussy.
Yeah.
And I was like,
He was 5'8"
So am I.
before anybody had grown.
Yeah.
He stayed 5'8". Like that's it.
yeah.
As good
But
as it
and
got.
he was like having sex already.
Oh, God,
we didn't
he
even
was
know what it was.
terrible.
Like, dude.
Before you got the video
He was
demonstration.
terrible.
Dude. And so I was petrified. And he walked away. And little did I know the friend he was with is 10 times worse than him. Kelly? Yeah. Dude, he's fucking horrible. A dude
boyfriend
named
for a
Kelly. Yeah, he's not
Yeah,
great.
I know one of those.
And so I was like, holy shit, dude, what just happened? Like, I'm so scared.
I'm
I hope I
scared
never
talking
see
about
the. Yeah, I'm like, I hope I never see this kid again. Fucking homeroom, first period. There he is, sitting in my class. I was like, hey.
They were fitting into wife beaters back in the 8th grade.
Oh, dude, it was so bad.
man.
But then, so he comes off as this badass guy. I get to know him. He's actually a nice guy. Like throughout the 2 years that we were in middle school, it wasn't that bad. But he did do horrible things. He was just genuinely a nice guy, I guess. He grew up like, dude, I'm this badass kid. Fuck you. I'm a gangster, right? His parents own Johnny Rockets. Like he's wealthy as fuck. He didn't grow up from shit.
Oh
A
man.
stash of cool water
you
in
ain't
his
from the
locker.
hood.
Yeah.
He was so cool. He was the coolest guy.
He had the nicest Jinko stuff.
Dude, I remember the Jinko.
I went through a short
Yeah,
Jinko phase.
so we kind of became friends, and
He turned into a nice guy.
One time it was Halloween, and he was like, "Hey man, you coming out with us for Halloween?" And I was like, "I mean, no, I don't live anywhere near you." He's like, "Oh, dude, we'll come by and pick you up." I'm like, "I don't think my parents will allow that." And he was like, "Don't even ask, just go." I'm like, "All right, we live very different lives. I'm not going anywhere near you on Halloween."
Yeah.
And then we went to school the next, I think it was a Monday, so Halloween was like a Friday or something. Mm-hmm. Come back to somebody, he's like, "Yo, how's your Halloween?" And I'm like, "Cool, man, just got like candy and stuff." I was like, "How's yours?" He's like, "Got arrested, but whatever." Jesus Christ.
My parents bailed me out with their Johnny Rocket money.
Sorry I missed out on that. God. Did you smash pumpkins? No, I heard they're bands, though. I don't know. Is that what you're talking about? Dude, it was the worst. A fucking nightmare. Did you ever get, bullied or anything? Or
No.
seen it at least? Because
What?
I've seen people getting bullied. Because they would. People that Nance and I knew, Brandon and Kelly, would literally beat the shit out of kids for no reason.
Yeah,
it was horrifying.
I never got bullied. The worst thing that happened to me was we had a roller rink for a little bit before it went out of business because that wasn't too hot in the late 90s, I guess, anymore. I didn't really get bullied. Some guy was I don't know, he was probably a middle schooler, and I was in third grade, and he was held up a pin or something, like a clothespin or something. He was like, "Oh, you want an extra whole nostril or something?" And I was like, and I just ran terrified. That was the worst thing that happened to me. Pretty sheltered life.
I run too.
Yeah.
But I remember freshman year of high school, I saw my first fight. And it was crazy because there's two kids I knew, one who I just sort of become friends with through baseball, and one that I was sort of friends with in middle school. And we were leaving PE, and one guy was talking shit. I don't know exactly what happened, but the baseball player dude, he was like a black guy from Hawaii, and he was
The Rock.
yeah, sort of. He sort of looked like him. But I just remember him he dropped his backpack and turned around and just started punching this kid's face in. He actually ended up breaking his pinky on the kid's face and couldn't play baseball for a few months and everything, had a cast on. And then just funny story. I just ran into the kid who got his face punched in. I ran into him at Welcome Diner last weekend.
Did you bring up the story?
No, of course not. I was like, "Hey, man, I haven't seen you in 12 years. How's your face?"
Better, obviously.
Yeah, better.
Hopefully.
Man, isn't it weird when you see a fight
Oh, I don't like it.
especially for the
really
first time, a
nervous.
real one?
Dude,
it's nauseating.
Yeah, no, I'm like, no. I get so uncomfortable, man.
It's legit. I've never been in a fight ever, and hopefully I don't ever get in one because I'll lose. I fight my son and stuff, but I can kick his ass. Have you ever been in one?
I never got into a fight, but this is gonna get sort of oddly real. But I was visiting home freshman year of college. I remember this is the first physical altercation I got in, and it was I was playing basketball with my cousin and my little brother and my stepdad, and then things got testy, and then my stepdad got pissed at me, and I thought I pushed him, and then he palm struck me in the face because he knows Taekwondo.
In the nose?
No, right in the
'Cause
jaw.
that's a kill move, I heard.
Yeah, no, he wasn't trying to kill me. No, he was just "Dude, that's a foul. You're dead." But it was the first time I'd actually been hit in the face, and I was just oh, it was the weirdest thing, and I was it was a weird time.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing.
Fuck, man, Nance never. But you
No.
want to be in a girl fight?
It's just
one of your
something
bucket
I've never
lists.
done. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the older
I
I
want to
get,
be in a
the
girl
more I
fight because
don't.
I feel I could pull hair.
But I've never been in a fight. Maybe because I'm not mean, I'm not confrontational. If somebody pushes me too far, I'll definitely,
Right.
stand up to them. But I just prefer to stay out of
Same,
harm's way.
but I always fantasize or daydream about
Have
getting
you ever
into
been,
fights.
dreaming and you're fighting in your dreams and you're
Yeah.
trying to swing, but
I
it
always-
feels like you're underwater or something.
Yeah, I do, but I'm really good at lucid dreaming, so I just turn into Neo and I just
Ah, the big trick.
give him a nice force push or fly off.
Dude, every dream that I have where a fight's gonna happen, I'm doing like a show at the comedy club and somebody gets super offended.
Yeah.
And then the security's like, dude, they're waiting out front to beat the shit out of you.
Fuck.
And so my whole dream is me
Dude.
trying to figure out how long can I stay in the club before they leave, or how can I just get
It's
out
like
of the
8
back.
hours, and then you wake up. You just spent the whole night.
Because
Every
we're
time. I am the
closing,
biggest
you know.
pussy.
I am the same way. Though.
I feel like when I see girls fight, I couldn't be looking at a trashier scene. Like, it's just the worst scene. Like, porno fighting, fake fighting, that's different. But, like, real girl fights, it is just the worst.
Well, there really shouldn't be a real reason to fight, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, honestly, like, whenever I think about, like, oh, I'm a pussy, I've never been in a fight, really, and then I think, like, oh, yeah, because every situation that I got in that might lead down that road was diffused more intelligently.
Yeah.
And that's the way I would approach
Right,
every
more
confrontation.
intelligent. Well said.
For sure.
I hate fighting.
So, all right. We'll change the topic a little bit because none of us have fought. We've been sitting here talking.
Yeah.
about
How much of a pussy are you? Oh, cool. Me too. How much of a pussy are you?
My-
Sweet. Me too. We're all pussies.
My
What's the
husband
best
used
fight
to
you've
get
ever
in
seen?
fights when we were
Oh, dude,
dating,
her husband's
and
a
it
fucking
really
badass.
bothered me because he's big, and like we were at a club one time, and some guy said, so, "Who knows? You know how that goes." And he's just like, "What the fuck?" Blah blah blah. So he starts a fight with this guy, and like he's pushing this guy. Whatever. It could have turned into a fight, but I'm like, "Don't do it."
Yeah.
I hate this. So we get kicked out of the club, and I'm like, my jacket's inside. You need to go get it. And he's like, I'll be right back. No problem. Like, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mind. I mean, God,
No, he'll
I
throw
wish-
down.
we're adults now. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yeah.
it used to happen. It bothered me.
So, all right, Ryan, you Lake Havasu, born, raised.
Yeah,
Then you go to college
Yeah,
outside of Havasu because I don't think they have a college, do they?
There's
they
a community
only have
college.
spring break.
Yeah, the students go there for a week.
Spring break. It
actually-
is a college town.
Yeah, yeah. No, they have there's a little community college there, but I went to U of A in Tucson.
Waste.
Come on,
Because of
why? What
basketball?
are you?
U of A just sucks, dude. I hate Tucson.
Well, Tucson's all right. It
It's
grew
better
on
than
me a
Lake
little bit.
Tucson's the
Havasu.
worst, dude. Tucson's my least favorite city in the world.
We do talk about that
kinda-
a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
They have the shittiest roads and the shittiest drivers, but I like there's a cool little culture there if you stay in it's a small little pocket.
I've spent there some time there. It's
I will actually. You know what? I'll say this. I was just down there doing a show, and after the show, we drove around the campus, and they were on spring break, so it wasn't busy.
Yeah.
And I had been to the campus before, but never paid attention to anything because I hate it. And it's not a bad little college town. I mean, it's small,
Yeah.
but they have restaurants
It's-
all over the place
yeah.
and like different places you can go, I
what
guess.
he means is they have bars there.
Yeah, no.
So it's okay.
Really do. It's a cool little community, like within that.
Do you know 1702?
Oh yeah.
Did I say that last
yeah,
night?
yeah. We talked about that a
Yeah.
little bit last night. 1702.
Great pizza.
Pretty awesome.
Well, you could pay like one of the things is you get a slice, but the slice is like $10. So I was like, dude, I'm not getting a fucking slice. I'll get the small pizza. And this dude hears me say that from the next table, and he picks up his tray and he's like, "This is the slice." He's like, "Yeah,
How
I'm just
big
gonna
is
get the
it?
slice. It's huge.
Like bigger than the plate.
It's not on a plate. It's on like a circular tray.
So it's a pizza.
Yeah."
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's you can't pick it up. You have to use a fork and knife.
Then it's
But then
a
it's
pizza.
cool because the knife they give you is the pizza roller.
Yeah,
cutter.
yeah. You
Oh,
need to cut
so
little,
you
your
get
own
a
little
little
slices
pizza
off
for
of the
$10.
slice.
Dude,
So
it's
that's
awesome.
worth it.
Yeah, and it's very good. But yeah, it's all right. College town. Did you get any shit down there in college?
No, I mostly when I first got down there, I told you I tried to do the baseball thing.
Yeah.
That didn't work. I auditioned for the sketch and improv troupe there called Comedy Corner. In my first semester, I didn't get in, and it was like, it was terrible. I was like, I have no purpose in this world. But then I auditioned the second semester of my freshman year and got in, probably just by default because I hung out and got to know everybody that was in the troupe, and then nobody auditioned really in the spring semester. So all right, you could come in. And then I think by the end of it, I earned my keep.
What did you guys do?
We were a sketch and improv troupe, and we did. When I first got in, we did 2 shows a week. We did on Wednesday nights we did improv for like an hour, and then Fridays in the afternoons we did a sketch and improv show.
For people in the afternoon?
Yeah, and
Whoa.
in the student union.
Oh,
put on a
that's
show.
cool.
Yeah, it was rad. And then that was basically all I did outside of like school at that point. I mean, that was my closest friend. You know, you spend 20 to 30 hours a week with these people, writing, rehearsing, performing, and those were the people that like I partied with and stuff. I never really did like frat parties or got into any other organizations. Just pretty much my own little comedy community there, and that took me through all of school.
Was comedy something you knew you always wanted to do? Because it seems like, I mean, once you go to college, you're like, baseball didn't work out. Now I want to jump into comedy.
Yeah.
Was it always on your
Complete
mind?
opposite.
Yeah.
No, I had never. I mean, I grew up, liking comedy. Never really thought like, oh, I have, this affinity for it or anything. But I knew when I first saw like a Comedy Corner show, one of my first weeks in college, I saw two guys doing a scene, an improv scene where they're fucking at a Third Eye Blind concert and fisting each other, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to fist
Wait.
other people on stage too.
Okay, good. Making sure that's where this was going.
But I was like, just watching them being like, oh, that's hilarious, and they seem like the kind of people that I want to be around. And then I tried to get in that more of just like being around like-minded people. And then once getting in and doing comedy, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I think I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
This is what I really want to do.
How long from when you started that to moving into stand-up?
Almost all of the time. So like I think I tried stand-up once, like my senior year. And then I graduated. I have a cool story about the time between graduation and actually moving out here 3 years ago, which we could get to maybe. But
Yeah.
I moved here like 3 years ago. Didn't really know anybody except for some of the like ASU comedy people that I had met. And so I was like, I had no outlet for comedy, did the Torch Theater, got back into improv a little bit. And then it wasn't really until like a year ago that I was like, I really need to hit stand-up hard and try stand-up, because I know that's an avenue of comedy that I want to be, experienced in and good. I don't want to just do sketch and improv, because they're very separate communities. Even between sketch and improv are really sort of compartmentalized. But even more so when you talk about the world of stand-up, and I want to do all of it.
Yeah.
So.
What are you drawn to the most?
Well, right now it's stand-up just because that's what I've been doing the last year mostly. I think they're completely different beasts, but like, I mean, I definitely have a soft spot for improv, and like that's what I really started with. And so I really appreciate that art. So I'm really invested in both. It's really hard for me to like say one over the other.
Sure.
But
Correct me if I'm wrong. I heard, because I haven't done improv or sketch. I hate it, but that's
Well,
just
it's totally
my own
cool.
personal thing.
Yeah. Like I said, they don't overlap for everybody.
Right. But I 100% appreciate the craft.
Right.
I just don't like watching it. For me, it's forced, very forced. But again, own personal opinion. I understand why people wouldn't agree with me.
Yeah.
But I heard about improv. You practice so much that it almost isn't improv. Like there's so many jokes or bits that you can use with questions. Like if you ask the audience, like, give us an idea for blah blah blah, and you've worked so much on it that you're like, all right, it's not legitimately off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That's not true.
Give Kevin a topic.
No, I don't
give him
want
a
to do
topic.
it.
Sesame seeds. But
I
no,
love those bagels.
you can like. I know what you're saying, but the thing with improv though too is like, I mean, there's so much you can do with it, and I've seen, like, because it's not always too about just like getting a suggestion and like, oh, if someone gives us a suggestion of pancake, there's only so much we can do about pancakes. You can extrapolate into any direction you want with that. And then, I mean, the best improv scenes, like, I don't know what improv you've seen, but if you saw, like, like these guys at the Torch Theater, the founders there are, I mean, and they even have good, like, house teams too, but they are, when you see a really good improv show, it's fucking phenomenal, and it blows your mind. Even as me, someone who's done improv for several years, I still like Bill Binder and Mac Duncan at the Torch Theater. They had a 2-man show that I saw down in Tucson several months ago. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm glad I'm not doing that because I fucking suck. I'm glad I'm trying stand-up because I'll never fucking be what they are.
So somebody just throws out a word or a topic or
Well,
whatever.
it really depends on the format. So there's different formats. I mean, there's two, like, so you have short form, like Whose Line Is It Anyway stuff, where, like, everything is a game that lasts 2 or 3 minutes, and it's all prompted by a, zany suggestion or whatever. But then there's other formats. There's things in the realm of what they call long form, where, for example, you can have like an Armando. You have a guest monologist, someone who goes up there and gives a monologue, and then while that's being done, they'll get a suggestion from the audience, give a monologue. The team will go and perform scenes based off of that. Then the monologist will come back in after, whatever, give another monologue or expand on the other one. There's so many different things, but like you see the truest form of the art in long form, which is it can go anywhere. You can do anything, and it's fucking fantastic. You see the craziest shit that's so removed from reality, it turns into like this weird surrealist thing, but you're like, oh man, that's funny, or something that's so just really grounded in reality, and it's like, oh, that's a shitty dad character. Like,
Interesting, man. So if you're doing like a bit in the improv thing and it kind of goes flat, are there tricks that you do to keep the audience like in stand-up?
I wouldn't say. I mean, so when a team, like if there's a team that's working together, right, and typically teams that have performed together, they're able to pick each other up, and that's one of the things I love about improv is the teamwork thing that you don't get in stand-up. Obviously, in stand-up, you're a lone wolf, right? It's only you up there, and in improv, like if a scene's going badly, there's always someone who can turn it around, and if your team's good enough, that will happen. You can see, or you can just, cut the scene before it gets worse, or you can change the direction. There's so many things you can do. And the people who are really good at it, they don't let it turn into a bad scene or a bad show. So, like, even the best stand-up comedians can have a bad set, depending on the room or whatever. But in improv, like, when you see the best of the best do it, it's always really good. At the worst, it's good improv, and if you didn't laugh your ass off, you at least saw like some really awesome talent, and you didn't go, "Oh, that fucking sucked."
I like your trucker voice.
Yeah,
He doesn't look like a trucker at all, or a rapist. He's the prettiest face.
Sex offender. Yeah, with my flowing locks.
That's right. You do have flowing locks. All right, so you were going to tell us a story about in between.
But after
college.
I graduated, and then like the 8 months until I got the job, it was like the shittiest time of my life.
Oh.
It was fantastic.
Seem to have had a few of those, right?
Maybe I don't want to hear this story.
No, it's good. Well, I've actually tried to turn this story into like a stand-up chunk. I've only given it a go a couple times, but because it's such a huge undertaking. But just for the sake of like story, so when I graduated, I didn't have a job. Like I had an internship my junior year, like the summer after my junior year. It didn't pan out, so I graduated. Didn't have a job. I was like, all right, I'll move back home. There was some shit going on with my family. At that point, like my stepdad, he worked in construction, and for years, after the fucking economy tanked, he wasn't working. My mom had hurt herself at work when I was like a freshman in college. So like I moved back home, and we've got like no money. We like lost our house.
Damn.
And so I'm like, well, living off a credit card that Chase just got it to me. Like, perfect.
Just in time.
Yeah. So like, I'm living off credit cards. I'm like dating this psychopath at the time.
She was rich.
And it's like, and it's not one of those, like, oh yeah, like I left the toilet seat up and she smacked me in the head. She's psycho. No, she was like fucking like off her rocker, dude. Like absolutely nuts. And like
you have to date one though to know you don't ever want to be in that relationship again.
Yeah,
You
no,
do.
and
everyone's got to date their psycho.
Yeah, the worst part is like I knew it like days into it, but it was one of those things. Like I think Jason Hill even has a joke like, "Well, I guess I'll just date you for 4 more years."
I had a run with one of those.
Yeah.
I dated him twice, and I was like, "Oh God,
what am I doing?
What am I doing again? My fault."
Yeah, but so I moved back home and like everything was just going downhill. There was like lots of shit going on within the family, and then and I was like, and also I was like starving myself practically. Like I was almost like $160, and by the time the end of the year
10
rolled,
pounds lighter than you are
I
now.
was gonna say, what do you weigh now?
well, by the
Jeans
time
you can have.
by the time like November rolled around, I was like 130.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
Sorry, that's not funny.
I would go. Yeah, no, it was hilarious.
Sad.
No, it was bad, you know, and then, but then, so like October rolled
I have
around.
feelings that weigh more than that. Jesus Christ.
So do I. That's why I've got bad knees and some small stature. Those feelings.
He was in a bad relationship. It's fine.
But no, and so like October had rolled around, so it had been like 6 months or so, and I was like, oh, there's a career fair at U of A, like I'm gonna.
What's wrong, man?
What happened?
Jesus, just let it out.
I know.
You with the
So
fellas.
long. It was
Your
like-
face-
I know,
She was
starving
holding
to
her
death.
mouth
It's
in her
funny.
face, and I couldn't stop. I'm like, is she gonna throw up all over the table? All right,
That was
sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry.
But and I'm leaving some stuff that makes this like a high gravity thing, which is probably not going to do justice to the story because it's like it's the whole like contrast between like the shitty and then like the end of it. But it's like, oh yeah, let me just rummage over like, oh yeah, there was attempted suicide in the family and blah blah blah, like oh starving to death.
Only go up from here.
Right, exactly. So just so you have an idea of how it was like, oh wow, I'm seeing what some life is here.
Wow.
Career fair at my alma mater, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna like apply to some jobs. Well, I had no money to go down to the career fair. I had to like borrow money from like friends and family to be able to rent a car because at this point we had like gotten rid of my truck that I was driving. So I'm like, okay, I make the trek down there, and my psycho she's living in the dorms at U of A, so I'm able to at least like crash with her. So I go down there to do the career fair, and I remember, and I was stoked because I did the whole career fair for like 2 days, and I got like no bites. I knew people that I went to school with that were working for fucking Boeing and shit, and I'm like, oh sweet, I've got ins with the recruiters. Fucking nothing. No calls, no emails, nothing. I was like, what is going on? Well, I happened to get an interview to do like my last day there, and I'm like, oh fuck yes, let's do this. So I'm like in my girlfriend's dorm, girlfriend at the time, and I'm like getting ready. I've got a 3:45 interview, and so I'm like, all right, it's 3:15. It's just across the dorm, you know, at the Union. So I have shitty dress clothes. I have ill-fitting like fucking shitty pleated wool pants that my fucking stepdad gave me like 3 years ago. I've got a shitty baggy shirt that I don't fit in anymore, and I've got to shave with this like several times used over disposable razor because I'm so fucking poor I can't afford like a new pack of shitty razors. So I'm like shaving, cutting my neck. I'm bleeding profusely. I'm like, motherfucker.
Was that the attempted suicide you were talking about?
The pursuit of happiness.
Oh, this is my pursuit of happiness story. It's fucking incredible. So I'm
You
bleeding
wanna
like
talk about me crying like a baby. Just put that movie on.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
one.
Once you
Not
have
The Blind
kids,
Side.
dude, I just cry my fucking face off.
I would cry. So I don't have kids.
Yeah.
But
Transformers, a real tearjerker.
So I'm getting ready, and it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes before my interview. I'm like, all right, I'm going to head over. And I'm looking, and I can't find my shoes. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I left them in the rental car in the fucking parking garage all the way across campus. And so I'm like, shit. So I put on the only things that I have, which
Her
are
heels.
flip-flops. No heels. Yeah,
Say
no.
your girlfriend's
I was like,
shoes.
I got to get this job
White
somehow.
nurse's shoes. They go great with pleated.
Do you have a pantsuit that matches your shoes?
Yeah, right. I'll wear his pencil skirt. Fuck it. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta run across camp. I'm like, well, all I have are my sandals. And I had dress socks on. I looked like a fucking Ninja Turtle, business cash.
Nice.
And so I'm like, shit, I got my big old computer bag. I run to that fucking parking garage, and time is a ticking, and it's like a half mile away. And I fucking sprint up 3 flights of stairs to my car. I open the door, and to my horror, there are no dress shoes in there. And I look at my fucking, well, I didn't have a watch. I looked at my phone.
The sun.
Yeah, I got my sundial out because I had to pawn my
340.
fucking S2. But I look,
S2.
and it's like 3:42. Like I have 3 minutes to be at my interview, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going. And then I fucking sprint back towards the center of campus. I'm taking shortcuts through like mud puddles with sprinklers going, and like the flip-flops is shooting mud up at me all over my fucking tie. I'm still bleeding from the fucking neck. And I get like 100 yards from the Union, and I stop because I'm having I think I was having a minor like heart attack. I don't think panic, because I've never really had panic attacks or anything. But I felt like pain in my arm. I felt like lightheaded. My chest felt all funky.
My heart stopped. Typical symptoms.
And so I stop.
Baby aspirin.
Fucking I'm like sweating and dying, and I see to my left is my girlfriend's dorm, and straight ahead of me is the Union where the interview is. I'm like, I could just go back to that dorm. I just felt like quitting. I was like, I'm already like 5 minutes late, and I look like this, and I have little fucking shoes, and for a second I'm just like, you know what? It might make a good story. So I go up, I fucking hike up to the interview thing. I go into the waiting room. Thankfully, they're running late, so they haven't called me back yet. And I check in, and I go and I sit down in the waiting room, and there's like other applicants waiting, and they're looking at me like I just fucking murdered somebody in the rain, because that's what I look like. I've got mud and blood all over me, just like, ah. And I'm like I try to make light of the situation. I sit down on a couch, and I look at one guy who's looking at me like horrified, and I take my sandal off and wave it at him like, well, looks like you got a leg up on me, huh?
Yeah.
And he just averts his eyes like with shame, and like I'm just alone, and I'm like, fuck. The recruiter comes back, and she calls my name. It's like, oh, Ryan. And I get up, and I'm like, looks like I have some explaining to do, because, I'm like, I'm still very, like, even though inside I'm crushed, I'm like, I'm going to give this outward, like, optimistic, cool, fun vibe. And she's like, oh, looks like you do. And we bullshitted. And she was like, oh, this is like the best. This is like one-ups the previous best story that I had of, like, something, whatever. I do the whole interview, and of course, like, my voice is cracking because I'm like dying of thirst from the trek and everything. And then it's coming to like a wrap. And I feel really good about the interview. And then I realize after I leave that, like, even though I'm feeling kind of good about it, I'm like, I have another interview the next day with a different company. And I can't just show up and play off this whole, like, oh, whoops, I forgot my shoes. So
That's your thing now.
Yeah. It's coming back to that, dude. So I fucking call the hiring manager at the other company that I'm supposed to interview with. I'm like, hey, by the way, is it cool if I show up in flip-flops? Because I totally don't have, dress shoes. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I go and do that interview the next day, and it goes really well. And even though I feel so it's fucking sandal, man. Like, it's unreal. Flash forward like a month, I fucking got both of those job offers.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I found out like at a time where I was like, I had again visited down there to stay with my girlfriend at the time. I borrowed my sister's car. And I was getting in a fight with my stepdad, and he was like threatening to report the car stolen on me. And I'm sitting there like, I just want to jump off that parking garage, but it's only 3 stories. Like,
You'll only just break your leg.
Yeah, I'm just at the lowest of lows. I know I did these interviews a few weeks ago, and like whatever. And then I go and check my email as I'm like got the noose around the neck. Like, all right, let me just close up some loopholes.
Finish your letter.
And then I see a fucking offer letter, and I'm just like, I fucking lost it. I broke down, and that was like, that was where like my life just completely fucking upswing.
Love your story.
That's so cool.
Great.
Yeah.
So, how did the job turn out? Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. It was fucking amazing to go from like, so, and after that, I found out I got the job at the end of like November or something. Mm-hmm. They were like, "Oh, it doesn't start till January." I'm like, "My credit cards are maxed out. They don't care that that I start in January. Yeah. I need a job." Well, one of my good friends, her parents had just opened up a restaurant and brewery in Havasu called College Street Brewery. If you guys want to check them out, they have some local brews here even. So thankfully they hooked me up. I got a shitty kitchen prep cook job for a couple weeks just to make the minimum payments on my credit cards, and I'm working with some really scum of the earth people at Havasu who are they're just assuming that I've done jail time like them, They're like, "Oh, how much meth did you do?"
Yeah,
and
tons. Safer.
And I'm like, "You have no idea what I'm going to do in a month." but then I go and they fucking flew me out to New Jersey for trainings, put us up in this really nice executive hotel for a month, and I was like, this is fucking baller. And I had that job for a year and a half before I switched and got my current job.
Wow, dude.
It's a great story.
You're a beast, man. That's
I was
awesome.
wondering where all this depressing thing was going, and it turned out so well.
Yeah, it was a huge... And to your point, Kevin, you kind of called it, and this is what I do now, is I recommend people, I was like, hey, you know what the best icebreaker is for a fucking interview? Going in flip-flops, man. Mm-hmm. That's so fucking gold. I'm 2 for 2.
Like Shark Tank and make a formal flip-flop.
Yeah, exactly.
This flip-flop changed my life.
Flip-flop,
flip-flop by day for Havasu.
Right.
Job interview by next day.
Yeah.
That is a good story.
So that's my thing.
Oh, I like it. Do you have any come-up stories?
No.
Not yet. Not yet. All right, I was listening to our podcast that I missed because I was out of town with Therese. I was like, Tyrese? No, that's not right. Therese. She was
Tyrese.
Great. She was so funny. But she told some funny stories about pot, and it reminded me of some funny stories about pot that I have never shared on our podcast. Now, I don't smoke pot, so they're not going to be that funny. But
great preface, Nance.
Well, they're not.
If you're listening, don't listen.
I'll just say, one
you want to laugh? Tune into another podcast.
It's not my story, but it's kind of my story.
All right.
Okay, so since we can't ever get my husband on here to tell his stories, he won't come on, so I'll tell the story. All right, so he used to work construction, and he's a licensed contractor. So he got a job, or he got a call from the DEA, and they were like, we have a job for you. It was through the city. So we got a house that we busted, whatever. They arrested these people that lived in this house.
Was this in Havasu?
No, this was actually in Paradise Valley. So the story is they arrested these people, and there was 300 pounds of pot at this house. But the DEA threw the house apart, punched in walls, kicked in doors. So he got the call to, fix all the damage the DEA did. So they told him, they're like, we removed all the pot from the house. Your job is to just fix everything we've done, because the people that were living there were renters. So the city owed the people who owned the house.
That would piss me off.
Right, to get it fixed. So anyway, you're like, okay, everything in the house is evidence. We've removed all the evidence, so everything now is yours to just clean up, fix, and whatever. So he gets paid to fix this house up. Just the amount of pot on the floor my husband took home was almost 3 pounds. Oh. Just cleaning up the pot. And he was supposed to. They're like, clean this up.
Yeah.
We need this, perfect. So what do we do with all this pot? We don't smoke it.
Yeah.
I don't trust the cops.
Sell it to your kids' friends.
We were charitable. We just gave it away. So we had 3 pounds of pot. It was in our house forever, just because we didn't know what to do with all this pot. It was great. But the people that were renting this house were these rappers trying to get this record deal. I don't know how to explain them. So there was Louis Vuitton luggage, like a couple of sets, full sets of luggage, like all these crazy clothes. I don't know. It was crazy. So.
And you got it all?
We just got it.
What?
Take it, yeah.
They didn't even...
They took everything out of the house that was evidence. Everything else, they're like, clean it up. Thousands of dollars.
The fact that they wouldn't even like... I don't know, because that sounds like all that like Louis Vuitton stuff would be stolen.
Well,
like,
you'd think
Fast and
because-
Furious, like they go and they just rob
but-
truckers and stuff.
They said
Like Louis
there was-
Vuitton ships
because
in
the
a
first time he went
Taylor
in there, there was like tons of merchandise, shopping bags, like Gucci stuff, all these like crazy name brand stuff, and pot everywhere.
Yeah.
The second time he went in there, most everything was gone, but they said everything else went to evidence. Everything else, clean up, it's yours.
So did you? So how did you collect all the pot? Were you just like, oh, get the Auric, honey?
Yeah, the pod bag. We didn't know what to do with it.
It's like, oh, empty the bag out first. We don't want to.
He comes home with a big black trash can full of pot, and it was just shake, like it wasn't like the buzz.
And it's
but it
cut
was
with
still-
dust bunnies.
Who knows? But we were just like, what do we do? We have a glad bag full of pot. Like, what do we do with this?
Oh my god, that's fucking insane.
We had people at our house. They're like, hey, do you have that pot you were talking about? Do you have any more of that pot? Like, whatever, just take it. Like, we're giving bags away, like trick or treat. It's
Just
crazy.
ignite an inferno in the backyard and get the whole block high.
But it's just funny that the one person who doesn't smoke pot lands that.
Right, of course,
like
of all-
3 pounds of
yeah.
pot in a glad bag.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That is crazy.
That's my pot story.
I don't have any pot stories.
I have another pot story.
What is it?
All right, so we went to Colorado this time that we were gone, and it's legal there. You just,
Yeah.
There's head shops. You can just buy it,
Yeah.
or what are the cannabis shops? Buy it wherever you want. So we're like, well, might as well buy some.
Right.
So it wasn't like we didn't buy pot, but we bought this candy, chocolate. It's like literally looks like chocolate. So we bought it to bring it home for somebody else, we'll say. And
We'll say. She
We'll
says
say.
at the end.
I
Mutters.
don't think that I'll eat it because I'm scared to eat pot, but leaving my options open.
Yeah.
So we are driving home really fast. My husband drives so fast, and we get pulled over. And I didn't even register that we have this pot in our car. And he didn't even think either. And both of us are like, crap, we're getting pulled over. But I was happy because he was driving so fast. I was just like, fuck, thank God. Someone control him. So after...
I will go to jail for 12
I
years
was
as long as
so
you just
tired
stop
of being
driving.
in the car and going, slow down, slow down, slow down. He's like, you're crazy, shut up, right? So he gets pulled over. I was like, good, you need to slow down. It wasn't until we got home, we're like, oh yeah, we had pot with us. Like, that was bad. We
God.
could have gotten in trouble.
They could have just
And
had
it
a
was in
It could have been a
Utah.
random canine
It-
unit. It's like, oh, you know what? Fido wants to just
Right,
take a look.
We were in Utah, so that's probably really illegal.
Yeah.
It's not like Colorado
Being
illegal.
up past 10 is illegal. in
Anything's illegal. So, I mean,
Utah
I guess we got
sucks.
really lucky. Utah. I hate Utah. I hate Utah for so many reasons, but that's just one of them. Yeah. So anyway, I didn't even think that there was. I guess
I didn't even
in the
think
car.
that there was a felonious amount of drugs in my car.
I did, but you know what I was thinking? If I had remembered that it was with us,
You
that
would have
probably
freaked out. It would have
it
cued
probably
him
would have,
off,
Like,
yeah.
been like, maybe I should search this
You're sitting there
car.
grinding your teeth. He's like, ma'am, are
But
you
the
okay?
cops probably getting my energy going. Yeah, thank God you pulled him over. Right?
Yeah.
And it went well, so we're back.
Wow.
It was a good trip.
You know what would slow your husband down is if he smoked a little pot.
Maybe. Right? Like Tommy Boy, when he's like, do you know how fast you were going? I don't know, like 40, 50? 7. You were going 7 miles per hour. And typically when I pull people over, they pull to the side of the road. It's like pulled over in the middle of the road.
So awesome.
That is funny. Unfortunately, man, we got to wrap up. So, Ryan, first of all, thank you for coming in, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
That last story was so triumphant.
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith's got nothing on you.
Yeah, he's got nothing. I mean,
he's got a
a
lot.
black kid on his hands. I don't.
He's got
I
a
could have just
couple
said
kids.
kid. I don't know.
Yeah, he does. He has a couple kids, a lot of money. But neither here nor there. You're rich by personality and friends. So, where can everybody follow you and find you again?
Oh,
Not
that's
Facebook.
But on Twitter and Instagram, at RK Lawson, that's RKLOLSON.
I love it. It's a cool. I like
know
it.
that is good. You should
is
be happy
okay?
about
Yeah.
that. That's a stroke
Okay.
of luck.
I feel like it's super fucking crosswordy and not make
Nah,
sense.
No.
don't worry about it. Because they can still look you up by your name.
Yeah.
If they just type in Ryan Lawson, they can find, but they'll have to look
They'll,
for
they'll,
that Twitter
they'll
handle.
find that rapist,
Everyone
pedophile,
says
that
LOL.
Nancy.
Nobody says, oh, yeah. Well, let's clear that up real quick. When Kevin told me who was coming on the show, I always try and look up the guest. And I looked you up, and the second profile that came up was a sex offender, but it wasn't you.
That's good. I gotta overtake him. I don't know how to get my. I don't know how Google rankings
You
work.
need to rape him. That's how you overtake him. You have to rape him.
I need to get more hits on my
Sex
pages.
offender raped by same name gentleman.
You have to beat him by rape. Yeah. Beat him at his own
You can't
game.
beat him, rape him. That's what they say,
Beat
right?
him at his own game.
I've lived by that motto for years.
He was the hunter. Now he's the hunted.
God. All right. For appropriately inappropriate. We thank you guys for listening. And guys, enjoy your week, man. Have a good week. I'll be on spring break with my son. Woo!
This has been another great presentation by the 4-Eyed Radio Network. You can find more information at 4eyedradio.com.